Folks, this is Steve Sanson, President of Veterans and Politics International, President of Nevada Veterans Association, Nevada Veterans Foundation, Nevada Veterans Association, I said that again, and VIPI Consultant LLC. And folks, I've been talking about corruption in the state for a part of 27 years, and I've been here 30 of it. And I've heard a lot of negative rumors and allegations and facts about Child Haven, Department of Family Services, Child Protective Services, CPS, and some of the rumors that's been going on about CPS workers lying to judges, which is not a rumor, by the way, it's fact. You got some CPS workers that lie to judges. You got some CPS workers that commit fraud and contempt of court. And you have a few folks that work for CPS that tries desperately to take children away from good parents so they can foster them out and adopt them out from good parents. It is a money-making organization, believe it or not. You got federal grants, you got state grants, you got all this money coming into exactly what I'm talking about. And I never really talk about CPS on a live broadcast before, but this is going to be the first time because I'm going to read to you events that took place with one of the litigants in CPS, Jasmine Rojas, and her husband, the father of the child, Eddie Rojas, two parents that are going through this devastating blow from her county. The CPS caseworker that I'm going to talk about, her name is Carrie Allen Singleton. She searches homes. She's worse than corrupt cops, by the way. Just want to put that out there. She searches homes without a warrant, barges her way into homes, intimidate, harass, and she's not even a educated caseworker. She didn't go to school for this, to be a caseworker, but yet she makes all these decisions and violate the civil rights of these two folks, these two parents. So you're going to hear the names when I read. You're going to hear the names Jasmine, and you're going to hear the name Eddie. And those are the parents of the two minor children. At the time, one was about 3 months old and taken away from her parents while breastfeeding, I might add. So I just want to give you a disclaimer and give you a viewpoint of what I'm going to be talking about. And that way you can better understand the seriousness in CPS. Well, right now, I'm over here by DFS, Child Haven. And over there, that's where they lock up juveniles. They got bars on the fence over there. I don't know if you can see it real clear, but they got bars on the fence, razor sharp wires up there. And that's where they lock up the juveniles. But I'm going to talk to you about this case, and then you could decide what should happen. And once you decide, maybe we could have the governor or legislators change these laws or make them more stiff for these caseworkers who abuse their power. So this is a case of retaliation and abuse of power. We brought Jasmine Rojas on her show a few months ago, which is the Veterans and Politics Talk Show, where she told her story of how CPS, which is Child Protective Services, took away with the belief there was abuse against their infant daughter. Medical reports inconclusive and conflicting as to her medical condition. And still to this day, Jasmine's infant daughter has been in and out of the ER 3 times, and the doctor multiple times where she's exhibited the same symptoms she exhibited when first hospitalized several months ago. Even this would have been an indication that the parents are innocent. You know what? When CPS and DFS got their hooks inside of you, they don't let go, even when they know they're wrong. Her daughter has been in the care of fictive kin for several months, yet still having the same symptoms which landed Jasmine's daughter back in the ER 3 times during the past month and a half. Now, there has been no criminal charges or arrests made in the case. Again, there has been no criminal charges or arrests made in the case. Jasmine and her husband work in the law enforcement community. Both parents are in law enforcement. So law enforcement community out there, Metro, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City, correction officers, marshals, you guys probably want to rally around these two parents. The CPS caseworker is a lady named Carrie Singleton. Her behavior has demonstrated over the last several months abuse of her position, retaliation towards Jasmine, not the husband now, not Eddie. Eddie is Hispanic, blonde, Caucasian. Now, Carrie Singleton is African American. So, you take it as you will. Retaliation towards Jasmine with the intent to lie and manipulate the situation, and is clearly interfering with the parents' right to care for their child. A little bit about Carrie Singleton. She's 57 years old, mother of 2, which I can't believe she's a mother and can treat others the way she's treating these 2 little children. A mother of 2 would act this way towards other children. But it's not her children, right? So might as well. It's not her kid. I bet you her kid is safe and sound at home. But anyways, she's from Los Angeles, California. Now, I've noticed a lot of Californians coming this way. They're running away from all the crap that's going on in California, but they bring the same crap to her state. Go figure. And it looked like she has been in Vegas 2 or 3 years. So she hasn't even been here this long. Her education background, as previous jobs, appears to be in finance of some sort, having no experience as a social worker. Now, that should be a criteria, don't you think? If you're going to take kids away from parents, shouldn't you at least be educated in that field? Or anything related to the job she now has as a CPS caseworker. Correct us if we're wrong, Carrie. But this is what we found out about you, amongst other things. Over the time, Carrie has been on the case involving the Rojas girls. There has been a pattern of behavior and has appeared to target Jasmine directly. Not her husband, just Jasmine, the blonde Caucasian girl. Carrie has lied and has fabricated things out of nowhere to create chaos and false narrative. I'll give you some examples right now. Are you ready? Monday, July 14th, during a visit between Jasmine, Eddie, and their daughter, Carrie told the Rojas parents not to speak to the fictive kin. Now, let me explain to you what a fictive kin is. Is a very close person to the family who has been caring for the Rojas girls for the past several months. Carrie said all communications must go through her. Carrie accused Jasmine of harassing the fictive kin. Where does Carrie get off ordering people to not speak to each other? Who the hell does she think she is? She has no right to do that. There's no gag order. There is no order at all. This woman wants to carry a badge and a gun. Maybe she should go join Metro. She just makes up her own rules to intimidate and act like she's God. There's only one God, baby, and it ain't you. Jasmine and the victim kin have been communicating fine with each other. Jasmine and the victim kin didn't pay Carrie any attention as to her unethical and unlawful orders and continued reaching out to each other in very supportive ways to help with updates regarding their infant daughter's health, as she has been hospitalized multiple times in the recent weeks. Hospitalized multiple times in the parent's care and out of the parent's care. Wouldn't that tell you that the parent is not involved in this child's harm? But it takes brains to figure that out. Apparently the Singleton don't have one. The calls remain civil and cooperative throughout. Jasmine has never harassed the victim kin, and not one time has Carrie ever provided proof through phone records and show Jasmine's blowing up the victim kin's phone ever. There is no documentation of this. Miss Singleton is just spewing lies. They speak to medical issues, care of the girls, and updates as to visits. Carrie is just making things up to create chaos and false narratives. Miss Singleton, is that how you do business? One incident just recently was documented in a communication log as a direct and intentional lie made by Carrie to the victim kin. During a phone conversation on Monday, July 21st at 3:06 p.m., where Carrie told the victim kin that Jasmine and Eddie emailed her requesting an immediate change of placement and accused the victim kin of abusing the Rojas infant daughter. This is completely false. You know, they got some people that just lie all the time. They call them delusional and pathological. And this is what this Singleton person is. She's a pathological liar. I hope you guys got that. This is starting to piss me off reading this. You know that? Where is that email, Carrie? Provide it. Or do we need to do a FOIA request? A FOIA request is it's a federal order that it's a federal request that you use, and it gets people or whoever your agencies to give you information immediately. That's what a FOIA request is. Maybe the Rojas needs to do a FOIA request and try to get this email that you don't have, Carrie. That you don't have, Miss Singleton. The victim kin also stated that Carrie said she is actively working with a placement center to find a foster home to move the children to, as the victim kin is no longer an option. So now she wants to put these children in a foster home. And we all know what happens in foster homes, now don't we? Why isn't it an option, Carrie? Yes, we know it's your fabricated reason. You know what? This demonstrate the length Carrie will go to manipulate the situation, create chaos, and out lie. Carrie is very sneaky. She wants communication to be on the phone, so there is no record of it. But you know something, folks? All you have to do, because if you have a smartphone out there, all you have to do is tell the other person, hey, I'm recording this call. And if they ask you why, say, because I don't trust anything coming out of your mouth. But you need to let them know that the call is being recorded, so it could be legal. And that's what I advise people to do. Especially people that don't put these things in emails or in written form. The parties involved have seen this pattern of behavior and now text and email their communication to Carrie so that it is on record. We need record. You have to have a record, folks. Carrie calls and calls, but when the parties can't communicate on the phone, for whatever reason, they will answer via text, and then all of a sudden Carrie knows she has to text or email, which she doesn't want to do. Then her communication seems very limited because she knows it's in writing. I say to everyone in this situation, in my opinion, I would communicate only in writing so you have a record of what was said, never by phone unless you tell the other party you're recording. Just recently, Jasmine's infant daughter was in the ER. Jasmine and her husband, Eddie, are the primary decision makers of their daughter's medical conditions. Their parental rights, folks, was never removed, okay? Just know that. Their parental rights are fully intact and they are to be at any medical emergency situation to make proper decisions, especially since this infant daughter is just now 10 months old. The first night in the ER, Jasmine spent the night at the ER with her daughter. There was no problems. The next day, when Carrie finds out she's in the hospital, Carrie sends a court order to the charge nurse of the hospital and says Jasmine can't have unsupervised contact and can only be with her daughter for an hour a day. My, that's a lot of time being with a sick child, especially an infant child, don't you think? I'm being facetious. The court order does not state the 1 hour time limit and does not address medical emergencies at all. Only references a scheduled visitation once a week. The hospital threatened Jasmine with being trespassed if she didn't stay off the entire floor her daughter was on while her daughter was in the ER. Wow. That's a shame. This was all due to Carrie's interfering with these parents' rights and to care for her daughters while she's in the ER. Carrie never asked once to Jasmine, how's your daughter doing? Don't you think that'd be a common question you would ask a parent, especially when they have an infant child in the hospital? If you were some type of a caring caseworker, how's your daughter doing? The most recent episode where Carrie found out that the victim kin invited Jasmine and her husband over to the house to visit with the girls. Nothing, and I say again, nothing in the court order precludes community visits outside the once a week scheduled visitation at the community center. The fact that most recent court hearings, it was encouraged for more community visits between the victim kin and Jasmine as they worked to coordinate schedules. The victim kin invited Jasmine and her husband over the day after their daughter was discharged from this latest hospital visit, which was on Sunday, July 27th. They went over to the house to visit their girls. Never once they left alone at the house without supervision. Carrie asserted that they were. So this caseworker just lies, and lies. I wonder if she lies to her own kids. Carrie was not at the house. She doesn't know anything that went on at the house, nor does she have any proof or evidence of such an unsupervised visit as she claims. Another attempt at manipulating fabricated events and creating chaos where they didn't need to be. The next morning, Carrie called the victim kin and threatened to remove the girls, as Carrie claimed the girls were in imminent danger. So imminent means that the danger is right now. It's in your face. It's imminent. It's right now. It's going to happen within seconds. That's what imminent means. This is completely made up. Nowhere in the court orders does it preclude the victim kin from inviting the Rojas parents over to visit with the girls. The grandmother goes over when invited and spends lots of time there, but never has that been an issue for Carrie. And just so you know, CPS removed the Rojas 3-year-old from the grandparents' home and views them the same as the Rojas parents as abusers. They're even claiming that the grandparents are abusers. Could you believe that? Why didn't Carrie remove the children when the grandmother went to visit? That's a question I'd like to know. This behavior by Carrie exhibits targeting and a complete bias against Jasmine. Again, this Carrie Singleton is only biased against the mother, not against the father. And the father is in it too, but only singles out the mother. Carrie made a house visit to the victim kin's residence on Tuesday, July 29th, where she told the victim kin she can't have Jasmine come over and spend the night. Carrie searched the house. Could you believe that? She acting like she's 5'0". Or maybe she's acting like she's ICE, because everybody else needs a warrant. Didn't show any search warrant. Then Carrie claims the girls were in, again, imminent danger, believes the girls there that night. So much for imminent danger. The next day, Wednesday, July 30th, Carrie shows up with her supervisor, Elizabeth Stumpf. I'm going to spell it for you, just in case I didn't sound it out right. Stumpf. And the cops. And takes the girls out of the house and sends them to where? Child Haven. No warrant, no court order. They didn't take the prescription. They didn't take the prescription medicine for the infant child, which must be administered twice a day. They didn't even take the kid's medicine. Could you believe that? Who's neglectful here? Sounds like CPS is neglectful. As they are leaving, Carrie asked the victim kin in front of her 6-year-old if she's going to kill herself. What kind of question you going to ask a grown adult in front of her child if she's going to kill herself? You see, you could tell that this Carrie Singleton has no training in casework management, because that's the first thing they'll tell you. Take the parent aside, not do it in front of the child. What in the world kind of question is that? Complete unprofessional, unethical, and completely out of line to ask and in front of the victim kin's 6-year-old child. How disgusting is that? The supervisor, Elizabeth, says to the victim kin to watch something on YouTube or Netflix and said, "You'll be fine." What a loser. Then they left. There was no notice given to the parents of the girls' whereabouts until the following day, about noontime. Think about it, folks. You're a parent. You got these caseworkers just came and took your infant child, 10 months old, and your 3-year-old, took them, and you don't know where they are. Wouldn't that be considered kidnapping to you? I think so. Did Carrie and her supervisor, Elizabeth, get the prescription to Child Haven for the infant daughter? I think not. Did her medical records get reviewed by Child Haven staff? Again, I think not. Did they even know all the challenges this poor baby has and what to watch for? I think not. Why did Child Haven have no idea about any medication when Jasmine asked? Because Carrie Singleton never gave it to them. That's why. They couldn't tell her if it had been given to her baby, or if she doesn't get this medication, it could be life-threatening. And to top things off, the Child Haven staff said Carrie didn't put the parents, Jasmine and Eddie, on the authorized list that day so they could visit, call, and get updates of their children. You have to be pure evil or just plain irresponsible to not do this. That Child Haven staff members has separated the two girls. They separated the two girls. And doesn't even know what medication an infant daughter requires, nor couldn't find out from anyone if the medication has been administered since they arrived. Did you know Child Haven is not required to give parents medical updates? Did you know that? Or any information to the parents? They say it has to come from the caseworker. And now, a week later, both girls are sick. So, this caseworker is just making matters worse. You know? I wonder what she'll do if this happened to her own children. If somebody complained about her and do anonymous about her, and if it went down like that with her kids, I wonder how she would react. This is what you caused, Carrie, for absolutely no reason. You caused this chaos to these children. Do you have such an insecurity in your life that causes you to have to abuse your position so you feel as though you're superior? Maybe Carrie Singleton has Napoleon complex. Maybe she was an abused parent. Maybe Carrie Singleton was abused growing up. Maybe she was an abused child and she's taken her bias. Or maybe she was in a relationship with an abused husband and taking her bias out on these children. But I just wish DFS would do a better background and go into these people's lives so they could know if they have some type of bias. So lack of care. This was not in the best interest of the children. This was a power move to intimidate the parties. In this case, she'll do anything to make Jasmine's life a living hell. Carrie mentioned to the victim kid this was all Jasmine's fault as she was leaving the home with the girls. So now she's saying that in front of this parent's babies, that it was her fault. Only someone with a dark and evil heart, like they have a vendetta against the world, would do something like this. You know, the more and more I read this, the more and more I think that this Carrie Singleton has some type of bias and maybe some type of discrimination. I really believe that now. What benefit is there in this for the children? None. This was a completely made-up narrative about them being in danger. There was no danger whatsoever. This is pure intimidation and abuse of position on Carrie's part. I wish there's some type of civil rights lawsuit against Carrie Singleton named, and the Department of Family Services and Child Haven and anybody else involved, her supervisor, Elizabeth, whatever, Stumper, STUMPF, so the deposition could be ordered. And that way, if she lies under oath, they could throw her in jail for contempt because she's lying here. There is so much more. Carrie was responsible for getting Jasmine's therapist fired from her job. Oh, so she got this therapist fired from her job. Somebody needs to get Carrie fired from hers. Long story there, but it has been documented and a complaint filed with Carrie's supervisor, Elizabeth Stumpf. But nothing was done about Carrie's unethical behavior. A complaint has been filed with the Ombudsman office, but nothing has been done there either. Ombudsman, what's going on with you guys? Do something. You're a state agency. You're getting paid by tax dollars. Do something. Or if you're not going to do nothing, at least send a letter saying I'm so lazy, I ain't going to do nothing. But communicate. No response from them. I guess we need to go investigate the Ombudsman now and see why they aren't answering the public, which is their main job. You can go onto CPS website and read all the horrific comments and reviews about the unprofessional, unethical behavior of the people working there. and about the horrible treatment of CPS workers to the public. And it's easy to find, folks. You Google them, you'll find a whole slew of different allegations made against CPS. And you know, if there was an investigation, I bet you a lot of those allegations would be founded to be correct. The governor needs to form a citizens review board to oversee and audit the actions of CPS, DCFS, and DHHS workers to prevent horrific abuse, retaliation, and bias towards tax-paying public. Governor Lombardo, please do something about this. Without oversight, there is corruption and abuse. Many members of the public have experienced atrocious treatment by CPS workers, yet no one does anything about it. We demand action by the ombudsman on complaints sitting on their desk or in their drawer, or maybe filed away somewhere deep in the basement. We call on the public to tell your story of abuse. We call on every news outlet, 13, Fox 5, 8, 3, and others to expose those horror stories so we can hold CPS workers and their agency accountable. We need to expose this further, folks. We need to use all the media outlets to expose this. Because you know what? It might not happen to you today, parents or grandparents, but all it does, it takes one anonymous phone call saying that you did something that you probably didn't even do, and there you go. CPS, DFS are climbing up your ass. So we need to stop this now. All of what we have reported today has been documented in many text messages, communication logs, emails, and other forms of communication. We will continue to demand accountability from CPS, Carrie, Allen, Singleton, and all those who work for CPS. We will not stop fighting for justice and truth in this case. You have been put on notice. You have been put on notice. We're watching, and so is the public. Now, it's unlawful for Child Haven to take a child to any doctor without telling the parents and the girls and giving medical updates. Child Haven doesn't have authority to override a parent's right to make medical decisions unless it's an emergency or your rights are terminated, which in this case, it didn't happen. Now, I encourage anybody that's going through this thing to file a civil rights lawsuit. I really do, because this is crazy. You can't have them coming into your house and searching your house without a warrant. You can't have them coming into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Folks, the best thing is, do not answer the door. They have no rights to violate your civil rights. None. And you need to know your civil rights. I believe it's 1 to 24 or 1 to 18, something like that. Know your rights. And you don't have to let them in. You don't have to answer questions. And you don't have to have them search your house. Tell them no. I hope that this was informative. This is Steve Sanson, President of Veterans and Politics International. Know your rights. Until next time.